Well, hello, and welcome back. I'm AJ O'Neill, and this is Beyond Code Live, and I'm going to continue a project from earlier. We're doing payments through PayPal, and a couple of new things today for the channel and the stream. One, we'll see how this works out. I'm sure this is going to get me in trouble one way or another, but I've got, as I'm typing, you can see what I'm typing, so we'll see how that goes. And then also, I wanted to do kind of a who to follow / picks type of thing. So one of the people that I really like, who is in my local community and has created a lot of stuff, is Matt Holt. And let me see if I can find him on YouTube. And I'm going to paste a link to him that'll be in the chat. And hopefully the chat shows up in the replay. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Maybe we can do a search for Golang. So we got his conference talks and stuff. I actually wanted a link to his channel. I'll have to find a link to his channel. You can find him on Twitter. He is at mholt6, I believe. So I'll just bring this up, but he also has started doing a couple of live streams, and so I wanted to make note of that. He created the Caddy web server and Cert Magic. So basically, any infrastructure type server thing online uses Cert Magic, which is for Let's Encrypt. So it's written in Go. Anyway, I'll throw that in the chat here, and then I'll go ahead and get started. So, who to follow? Boom. Okay, it's going to be interesting there. Thankfully, I do have a hotkey to turn it off in case I need to do passwords or something. Also, as always, or nearly always, or a lot of times, this episode is brought to you by, but not actually brought to you by, Mountain Dew. Let's open focus. Okay. So where we left things off is I created my own PayPal SDK because it was simpler to read the REST API documentation and just write idiomatic JavaScript with a request object over that than it was to bounce back and forth between their various documentations with the SDK that has abstraction over top of it but doesn't really do anything. So with that out of the way, and we've implemented this payments flow. And then we were talking about the database structure and what that should look like. And I basically came up with, let's see here. I think this is going to be the winner in terms of the database structure. Now, there's going to be more than one, I'm going to have more than one product. So that's one thing I wasn't thinking about when I was first doing this. I was just thinking there's going to be one product and all plans are going to be related to that product. But in actuality, there's going to be multiple product plans. There's multiple products and therefore multiple plans. So I'm not really sure. I think I just want to allow for the capability that a person actually may be subscribed to multiple plans at a time because there will be multiple products. I'm creating this API around a particular product, but I think that as it grows, what I'm going to do is just take the root company as an umbrella and all the different products, whether it's Bliss or Telebit or whatever, I'm going to do the same subscription. So that's where I'm sitting at there. And that's kind of weird having all of the J's and K's and L's and H's showing up there, but whatever, so be it. Gosh, that's going to take me a while to get used to. We'll see how that goes. But this was a suggestion by, and this is another person to follow, but maybe I'll highlight him next time. And I forget his name anyway. I think it was Kai Hendry. I don't remember. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead. Let's just copy paste this into a database file. I'm going to look at, oh no, not there. let's go over here. Yes, indeed. Indeed. So let me bring this as comments. Whoops. What? Oh, yeah, because, whoops. I don't know. Whoops, set no number. There we go. So let me copy and paste that. Bah. All right, so I think rather than ID, I don't know. I go back and forth on this. Should it be named UUID or should it be named ID? I've already been doing UUID in here, so I'm going to keep with that. And I think I'm going to keep with, this is subscription. Wait, are we doing plural? I made the mistake of doing plural, so I'm going to keep with that mistake for consistency in this code base. All right, so we're going to have a user FK. I think I've been calling things FK, if I'm not mistaken, in here. Let me take a look at that. Oh, that's a little obnoxious. That's a little too close for me. Maybe I can move this down a touch. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it looks... it seems that I have been using underscore FK for how to reference things, so we'll keep with that as well. So everything's going to have to have a user FK, which is going to be... Let me go take a look at that. Not nullable. Yeah. So I think we're going to follow that pattern here. But for the plan FK, I think I'll stick with the UUID, but I don't think I'm actually going to put the plans in here. So there are, let me go back over. There should be some references. Yeah, table.foreign. There we go. So we see that. We'll add that in here. So references, I think, come last. If I'm not mistaken, I'll have to go back and look at that other one. It probably doesn't matter, actually. But we're going to have user references, users. But I think the plan for now, I'm just going to keep in JSON because it's more difficult to think about the plan as how it's going to fit into the database. I just don't know well enough yet. So for now, my plans are not going to go into the database. They're going to be flat JSON files. Okay. And then let's see what we had here. So there's going to be a plan. There's going to be a service name. And we are going to create a services table. So this is going to be I don't know, maybe I should call it merchant services or payment services. I'm not really sure. PSPs, payment service providers. Payfax. I don't know. Merchant services. What would we, what's a good word to group? Let's say PayPal and First Data and Veripay and Stripe and Square. What's a good... Oh, wow. That's already shown up. Payment gateways. because they're not really, they have very, very different, oh gosh, just, no, adjust, minimal, save settings, I don't know. Processing gateways, payment gateways, processing products, e-commerce, merchant services product. Yeah, there's not really a standard name for this. So let's say that I'm going to use the wrong term. Maybe we're going to say payment gateways. That's the problem is all these terms have a specific meaning. Yeah, Wachu or Wucha, feel free to contact me privately. You can send me a DM on Twitter probably, or email me. My email's pretty easy to find. So I don't know if you've got an idea for what I should call this table, but I'm just going to move on because otherwise I'm going to just waste all my time thinking about it. But this is going to be an enum is what it's going to be. So we're not actually even going to use this table, and I might even call it enum. Because the only purpose this table is going to serve is to have basically to function as an enum, where it's going to be, there's going to be the service name is going to be referenced here. And then, oh, that's not going to be UUID. That's going to be a string. And that's not going to be nullable. And that is going to have our references as well. So down here, we're going to have service name, and it's going to have only allowed values. So references, payment, services, or maybe I should call it gateway name. Even though, yeah. Dot, I guess name. This doesn't need a UUID. String is good enough. So it's going to be private, or it's going to default to nothing, I guess. And then not nullable. And then payment services enum. Payment service names, maybe? That's, there we go. It could be name or ID. Either one is appropriate. But this references here is just to constrain so that we can't put in an invalid name. Hello, and welcome to the channel. I'm AJ. Who are you? What brings you here today? I'd love to know. Okay. So, we've got our user, our plan, and then we need a service ID. Let's see. And this one's going to be a string because it's going to be arbitrary. Let me see. Do we have string in here anywhere else yet? I'm going to go look. String. Database. And we can constrain it to 255. It looks... Seems that it is constrained to 255 everywhere else that I'm using it. So I guess I will follow that pattern and give it a constraint, which I think is fair enough. Yeah. So we're going to have a service name, and then we're going to have a service ID. Or, I don't know what to call this. So, it's going to be It's going to be a subscription ID, but it's going to be scoped to the service. So do we just call it service subscription ID? Or external ID? I don't know. So there's going to be the service name and the service subscription ID, I guess is what it's going to be. Payment ID. So the service name is going to be PayPal, for example. The service payment ID is going to be whatever PayPal brings in. Okay, we're going to have created at, and I think activated at. Do we need an updated at? Is this going to get updated? I guess it is technically going to be updated. Because it's going to start out not activated, and then we're going to make it activated. And then I don't think we're going to delete these as much as we might end them, and we can end them prematurely. So let's see here. So we've got our user FK, our plan FK, our service name, created at, activated at, last paid at, and and as far as the names go, I think we can do, what is this? Await connects dot. Do we do inserts in here? I think I've done inserts in here. No? Let me go check in another place where I've done inserts. I'm going to go look somewhere else. Real quick. And I'll bring this over in just a second. I just got to check. What are we doing here? Okay, this one is one that makes sense that I'll probably be able to use. Alrighty. So I'll do await connects and then payment service names, insert, and then I guess we'll just do name is PayPal. We could have called this PayPal. We could have called PayPal Checkout. There's different services of PayPal. Let's call it PayPal Checkout. Let's see. So nothing crazy there. And then for plan, we're not going to have plan references anything. Maybe we should add a references for the plan and just have JSON blobs stored in the plan. Let's see. What about connects seed data? Connects seed data. I wonder how we specify what the seed... Oh, there it is. Okay, so we could have different seeds. I kind of like the idea of running the seed data separately. I have to think on that, though. Because the upshot is you're storing your data in the right place. The downshot is... I don't know. I don't know if there's really too much of a downside there. So let's do this. Do I have a connects thingy? I think I do. Here's the connects file, migrations. So then do we put in seeds? I don't know where sorry, Wucha, what are you referring to? Did you send me something via email or something like that? I'm not going to... Oh, okay. Sorry, I just saw something else. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing right now to go look at it, but yeah, let me know where you sent it. And I can take a look at it a little later. Sound good? Okay. So we're looking at seeds here, and so we give it a directory. And then DB seeds, should we call it that maybe? That's probably good enough. All right, so we're going to do npx connect seed make, and what we call this, payment services. Subscription plans. Let's try that. Let's see what this looks like. Data, DB seeds, subscription plans. Oh. Oh no. I don't think that I do want to do that actually. Or maybe I do for this sort of data. No, I don't. Because there won't be foreign keys for this. I don't want to lose data that's tied into foreign key constraints. So I'll probably have an on conflict .ignore. That's probably what we'll do with that. And let's say payment service names. And we're going to insert in here name PayPal checkout. And then we would need to do await. Yeah, I'm going to consider this one. And I actually should go ahead and keep my created at and updated at, although I don't expect these to ever be updated or deleted. I'll just go ahead and put that in there. Why not? Because if it does change for some reason, let's see. Well, yeah, I don't think updated at makes a lot of sense, but it could happen. So I'll leave it in there. No, I won't. If I ever need it, I'll add it. Created at makes a ton of sense. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I don't know if I can help you, so you have to ask the question first, Wucha. And after you ask the question, then I can tell you if I can help you. So you go ahead and send me something, and then maybe I'll be able to help, and maybe I won't be able to help. But without seeing whatever it is, I won't know. All right. And I'm going to have... I guess I'm going to go ahead and just fill out this whole thing. So let's do products. We'll put in some product names. We'll do product UUID. I'll do a product name. So this is products or services, but we'll just call it products to be simple. And again, I'm just going to go with updated at, created at, and then maybe deleted at as well. And that would be nullable. And that would default to null. Well, I guess that's the default anyway, so I don't have to say default to null. That's understood. Let's see, am I doing that anywhere else though? Nullable, 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 nullable. Yeah. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to go into the, let's see, data seeds here. And I guess I'll go ahead and say we're going to look at products. And I'm going to add Bliss. I might call it Bliss Pro. I might have a short name and a long name. And maybe a comment. And then I think the comments, well, yeah, anything that, I think null has special meaning in most databases. So it's good to use null where you can, because nulls will collapse and not take up any space. Whereas an empty string, I believe, will still take up space. All right, so I'm going to have a comment, and we'll say that that can be nullable. And I kind of want to call it, a name, a label, and a comment, maybe. Really, I want this to be ID-ish. I want it to be unique. And I guess I want the labels to be unique as well. I'm not sure. Maybe I should just call this description. I'll leave it as comment. So for example, I want to be able to say, here's the name, and then the label is, or maybe title, Bliss Pro, and then comments. For power users. Yeah. So you're saying you don't like seeing the keys on the screen? Is it distracting? Because somebody was asking for that. And the other thing I could do is only display command keys, which that would then just show you when I am doing... Well, but then it doesn't show all of the little... It would be nice to be able to say, don't show alphabetical, just show... Well, because I want it to be able to show what I'm doing in Vim as well. But then when I stutter and I just hit H and L back and forth while I'm thinking, I guess it shows up a lot. Anyway, comment would be up to 5,000 syncs per month. For working professionals. I don't know. Something silly here. Yeah. Yeah, but then you don't get to see what I don't know. I'll have to ask the person that suggested it what his thought is, if it's better just to display command keys or what. So there we go. Okay. So I've got something there, and then I need a plans table, which is going to be about the same. So we're going to have products, plans, and subscriptions. And with the plans, it really is going to have to be weird. Because the plan is going to be, let's see, it's going to be related to a product. Whoops. Subscriptions, plans. And I don't know, wait, do we have UUID? Oh, whoops. There we go. A plan is going to have to be related to a product. This makes sense. And then we're going to have a foreign key relationship to the product. I'm just going to call this constraints and call this constraints and then call this constraints here as well. Oops. Do we have any constraints on the plans? I don't think, or products. I don't think we have any constraints on the products. Okay, so we're going to have plan FK, which is going to be plans.uuid. And, the plans are also going to have a name label and comment. You know, I know what I want it to be. Slug and title. Here we go. So we're going to call this slug. We're going to call this slug and title. And we're going to call this one slug and title. That's a better name for it. Service slug. I think I kind of want to keep that service ID maybe. Service type ID. I don't know. So let's call it payment services, service names. Okay, we're going to go back with payment services. And then we'll go down here, say payment service references payment services.slug. Okay. I like that a little bit better. And now I need to come up with some plan info. Really, the plan needs, we're going to have to do, let's see, let me go check on what this is considered to be. JSON. Table.json. Adds a JSON column defaulting to text. Okay, simple enough. And I don't think we want this to be nullable. I don't think we want this to be nullable. I don't think we want this to be nullable. And slug needs to be unique. And I guess we should index on the slug, maybe. I kind of want the slug to be the primary key, but not entirely. I think that's what we should show to the user and maybe let them search by, but keep the UUID. Okay, so plan belongs to a product, and plans can be created, updated, and possibly deleted or hidden. And then subscriptions are user X plan. And a plan is payment for a product. All right. Names of payment services such as PayPal checkout. And then descriptions of products and services. Okay. And then a plan is a payment / billing plan for a product or bundle And then, I don't know if subscription is even the right word. Because really, yeah, because there's payments, but a payment could be a subscription, but it doesn't have to be a subscription. There could be a one-time deal. But I don't really know how to handle that. Let me think about that for a second. So, somebody buys a year of service, but they don't subscribe. I think that would just be we make a one-time purchase and we say that the plan would be that there's no end date. So end at can be null. So that is definitely nullable. Start at is whenever it gets activated. And the difference between, let's see. And we can end something without ever activating it. So that would effectively be canceling it. So end at end/cancel. Yeah, I am thinking a little bit too much about this without having enough dog in the fight yet. I haven't handled subscription payments before. I've only ever handled one-off payments. And so this is actually something that I haven't thought through that well in the past. I don't have the expertise in this to come to it with a lot of previous experience and ideas about how this should be modeled. And maybe I should go look for a blog. In fact, I'll just search for this real quick. How to model subscriptions, payment subscriptions in your database. And maybe the payment services before building a subscription billing. Okay, this actually appears to be a really good article. And ChargeBee has come up a number of times now as I've been searching through things. So I'm getting brand exposure to them and starting to believe they must be good just because I am seeing their name more and more. But let's see what they say about databases. I think this actually would make a really good article because there's not a lot of information on this. Yet this is something that there should be a standardish ways to do this. I guess you can just follow more or less the way that it's presented to you by the payment service. Okay. Okay, service payment ID. Payment service. Could we call this receipt? Rather than payment service ID. Scoped to the payment service. I'm just going to call that for now. Seems to be a good name for it. Just 1 second. Okay. Okay, I need to take a look at what I had. Was it over here or over here? I think it's what I have over here in my test. So the product and the plan. Should I call it extra or adders or what? Should I just call it JSON? Because the product and the plan, I guess I'll just, I don't like calling it JSON. I'll call it X-adders before. I like that name. And if we're going to have X-adders, I don't know if we really need a comment, because it seems that that will be in the X-adders. If we're not going to index it, which I don't think that we're going to try to index or search on that, then there's little utility in actually including it in the table proper. So subscription, receipt, Okay. So we got payment services, and this is going to be a slug. And we got products. And this is going to be a slug, and this is going to be a title. And then let me go double check. So there should be 3 things that are unique in here. Slug for the product, slug for the plan, and then the slug for the subscription. No, because we can't insert. Okay. So I need to go see what did I do for this for PayPal. What do I do when I want to create a product? Set no number. Let's see. Hello and welcome. I'm AJ. Who are you? And what brings you to the channel today? I am setting up my database for plans and products and subscriptions and interacting with PayPal. Okay, so the X adders here, whoops, would be this perhaps. Okay. And then So maybe I should try to make the slug the ID. Same as slug. And then here, same as title. And I should nest this all under, I think, PayPal. Maybe PayPal checkout. Let's call it that. Maybe I should think about it this way. So here's products. And then what I want to do is say products.map, and then I want to modify these and then return product. And so then here I could say product.paypal.id, oops, PayPal checkout.id equals, and we could do product.slug. And then same thing with name, can be title, and then description could be comment. And then so save as, we'll say copied. Copied from slug. Copied from title. And then I think one thing I will do here is the way that PayPal does it, which I don't think is a bad way to do it at all, is they prefix, I think it's product is with prod and then plan is with P, or they've got some sort of thing they do like this. Instead of copied, we'll say created. And then copied from comment. And then these are the same, and then that one doesn't matter. Okay. So there we are. I've got a list of products that, and maybe I could just move this here. But I kind of think I want to grab this from a JSON file. But I'm going to keep going with it for now. Okay, so the only payment service we're going to offer right now is PayPal Checkout. I'm creating a SaaS product. So combination of type, service, category, software, software as a service, SaaS. That seems to be the most generic way to do it. There is a more specific way to go about doing this in the categorization system that PayPal provides, but I don't want to do it. I think you need to do it for particular industries. For example, if it was adult or firearm, I think you need to tag it appropriately. But I think you can use physical goods. I think if I'm not mistaken, you have to do it also for apparel. I think they have special rules. There are certain ones that you need to be specific about, and there's a lot of them you can just be generic. Anyway. And then plans are related to products. And I do need to update this to be request ID. Because the actual ID is going to come back from PayPal. And it's not going to be the ID that I specify here. So that's an important point to note as well. And I think I'm going to update that in my SDK. I think I'm going to change it so that request ID is request ID. Or maybe just not even saved there. But that seems about right. Okay, now I need to create the plans. Let's go take a look at the plans from the test. We need a plan that looks like this. It's kind of big. I'm just going to go ahead and cat that out. So there's the subscription. We don't need that. We just need the plan. And this is big and bulky, again, which is why I think that it belongs in its own file. But for right now, I will just put it here. We're going to do let plans equal, and then we're going to throw a plan in here. And then this is mostly PayPal checkout. Maybe I will change the name of this. Well, I'm calling it slug, so I'm going to leave the hyphen there. Because slugs use hyphens. If I want to change it to something else, I can. Okay. Let's see, 36. What is it upset about? Ah, yes. That's where I need to have the brackets. There we go. Now all of this information seems that it is duplicated as well. And since PayPal is the first one that I'm implementing, I kind of think I will just leave it as that, as the canonical representation, and then figure out if I need something different later on. I kind of want to do the same thing for this, actually, except that in the database I want it to have at least these things be selectable. This is simple enough that all of it could go into the database and then just be mapped for PayPal. This one is a bit more complex. Okay, again, request ID. So we got to distinguish between the plan and the product, because the plan is kind of the same as the product in a sense. So let's say that we did have a slug for this, which we will. this should be Bliss Pro yearly. And then like this. Okay. All right. So the product. Huh. There's a little bit of a mismatch here. Because the product doesn't include the pricing information, right? Do we, let me go back and take a look at this again. Product. Wait, did I grab the right thing? Did I grab? Okay, this is a plan. And where does it say? Okay, this is where it says how frequent it is. And then pricing scheme. There we go. So that's where it says how much it is, and then we also have the tax bit there. And a setup fee. Okay. Now, one thing I'm not clear on. I think setup fee should be 0 in this case. They're not really clear on what setup fee is. I would imagine that it is, I think what it is what you pay no matter what to get started, your application fee, as it were. So you're going to pay whatever to get started, and then get the first month free, and then get charged $10 for the next 11 months. I'm not exactly sure how that works. But the payment information is in the plan, not in the product, which makes sense. The plan for the products. So I'm gonna go back and comment this in my database as well. Plan is product X billing. That's what this is. It's the relationship between the product and the billing. Kind of, sort of. Or we could say pricing. Because the plan... Yeah, it is the pricing and the billing. Okay, so I think it's fair to say, what's the price and what's the currency? And so the price is going to be $10 and the currency is going to be USD. And so then I'm okay with keeping currency code. That's more descriptive. So there would actually be different plans. So this would be Bliss Pro yearly USD would be the most accurate description of that, I think. So Wucha, did you actually send me an email or something to look at? I didn't see anything come in. Let's see. Nope, I still don't see anything. I don't think. Okay. There we go. I gotta read up on it again. But there's this fun psychological trick where you offer two things at the same price, where one is infinitely superior to the other. And it increases sales simply by adding two things next to each other. So I can have a plan for Bliss Pro monthly that's, say, $10 a month, and then I could have a plan for Bliss Pro yearly that is $10 a year. And that would make the perceived value be $120 a year or something in that realm. It's a little, and they've proven that this mind trick works. That people do for reals. Consider the value of something different when you do it that way. Okay. And again, I shouldn't get too deep into this. This should be in a JSON file. I'm not doing that right now. But I can change it later. Okay, so that doesn't have a product ID. And so should this be plan ID? Get from PayPal. Given by PayPal checkout API. Oh, product ID. This one will have a product ID. And this one will have, oh no. So this, right? And then same thing here will be this. Oh, and we do need, so this is one of the things here. So we do need to figure out what the ID of this is so that we can insert the ID in here. So what do we do then? Await connects.select UID dot from products dot where slug is Bliss Pro. So this needs to be unique. I think I also want it to be indexed. Let me see how I do that with connects. I think it's .index, but then you choose which index you want, maybe. So do we tell it table.index columns, index name, index type? I don't really care. So I think index is good enough for me. So I do want, let me go back to this, and then where we have constraints and whatnot, I think I can do for this one plans, yeah. Table.index, and then we give it a list of columns, which in this case is just going to be slug. And then we'll do the same thing. We should do the same thing on products. And if it's unique, it already has an index. I'm pretty sure unique implies that it will be indexed, because otherwise you would have, when you go to insert something into the database, it has to do a lookup, and you don't want it to do a full table scan. So I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that unique implies index. Let me read what this says. Index name. Yeah. Okay. I don't really know what I should do in terms of the deferral of that. So I think I'm going to leave it alone for now. Okay. So I think this is going to need a little bit more. So what was it? Plan.slug. Copied from title. Copied from slug. Copied from PayPal checkout API. And then copied from comment. And then here, I don't know if I actually want to have a trial on this. So let's see. I don't want a setup fee on this. I don't need a setup fee failure option or a suspend. I don't want to deal with taxes on this. Though I do need to figure out what taxes are supposed to be for services like this. Let's see. Let me just Google that real quick. Utah SaaS tax. Do software as a service, does it get taxed? Okay, I am looking over some stuff here to kind of see. I don't even know the first thing about taxes. Of course, everything's going to be taxable in California. The funny thing about California is they tax you even if you're not, your company isn't even in California. I don't think they can enforce it from across state borders, but in some of their documents, they're ridiculous. Oh, SaaS and cloud computing is non-taxable? Interesting. Databases. Well, Bliss is a database. So Bliss is not taxable at the moment. Great. Interesting. Okay, well, that's enough for now on that. I don't know if I need this payment preferences at all. Okay, so what are we going to do? Billing cycle. Cycles. Okay. Billing cycles. So let's take a cycle and let's say cycle dot, what is it? Frequency pricing scheme. Dot fixed price dot currency code is equal to plan dot currency code. And then I guess I should default that to USD. And then there's value. Okay. Plan dot price cost. What do you think? Does it matter? What's the difference between the word price and cost? Let's see. The difference between price and cost. Price can be termed as actual amount of money. Cost is the amount paid before it is sold Okay. Price is what the customer is willing to pay. Cost is what it incurs. Okay. So good enough for me. Price is the correct word. Copied from plan.price. Copied from plan.currency code. I guess this could just as well be a for each. I don't think we're actually returning anything there. And then that doesn't need an extra return, and that makes me happy because then it reads simpler. Okay. So I don't even know that I really like this method of doing it because let's see, what were we, connects file? Yeah. Because really, for this to work properly, we have to go fetch the data from PayPal. So with that in mind, I do want to go to, okay, here's my PayPal checkout ID. I want, let me get to this. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so there's those couple of things. And where's that prefer at? I think there was a prefer equals somewhere. Ah, there it is. Headers prefer equals return equals representation. And I think, I kind of want to change this so that there could just be that this is the default. To do. Shouldn't this be the default? And it may be the default anyway. Okay. So I actually want this to be request ID here. let's make this client ID and client secret. Client ID, client secret, client ID, client secret, request ID, okay, so what we should see here is plan.create, and then we should see product.create, and we should see subscription.create. And all of them should have a request ID. Request ID, request ID, request ID. Request ID, request ID, request ID. Okay. So all of that looks good. And I kind of want to remove the prefer, but we'll see. For now, I want to stick with this as is. This is a breaking change refactor, hence the exclamation mark. And this would be rename ID, request ID as appropriate. Okay, now we're going to go back here. Let's see if that works. That's cool. Okay, so package lock was updated. Good. All right, so let's see with this migration. Try this one last time. So plans should have a price. And they should have a currency code. And the currency code will always be exactly 3 digits. Hey, Thelon. RG is ripgrep. So it searches. It searches recursively. It is a modern replacement for grep. And if you are familiar with grep, then RG basically just does exactly what you want by default. So you don't have to have a bunch of options. Apparently that didn't go through on Twitch, but as you can see here, webinstall.dev/rg. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. The core features of it are that it obeys .ignore and .getignore, and that it has all the options you want turned on by default and automatically enabled or disabled based on whether you're using it from the command line or whether you're piping. So if you're piping, it'll turn off colorization, or if you're redirecting output to a file, it'll disable colorization. Yeah, it just does what you want by default. It ignores the things you want it to ignore. It's safe to use. As long as you have your .envs ignored by your .getignore, it's not going to grep through your .envs. It's not going to grep through your node modules. So it's just fast. Okay. All right, I think I've about got this right. What did I change about the README here? That seems that this should be completely different commit. Okay. Install, configure. Let's see. What do we call it? Contributing, hacking, developing. This project uses connects. Here are some shortcuts. And I'm going to go ahead and add connects to my spell. See what I did there? Colon spell connects. Now it won't underline connects in prose. I don't have the heart to add dockerizing. Can't do it. Okay. And what's different about my connects file? Oh yeah, I added a seeds directory. All right, let's see if we can really do this. So before, let's do PayPal checkout equals require at root PayPal checkout. Okay, ppc.init is going to be client. No, wait, that's not what we're doing here. Process.env.paypal client ID, and then PayPal client secret. And then really we should have an environment, sandbox or live. But that doesn't do anything presently. And then I should be able to use let's see. I don't quite know how to do this. I don't quite know that this is the place for it. But basically, I need to sync this between PayPal and products. And maybe there is another place where this ought to go. I think I'm just going to create another function down here called sync with PayPal. And we will take out all of the plans. See how this works. Because essentially, what do we want to do here? These are all going to be part of the whatchamajig. And then we're going to say what? Plan.xadders equals plan.PayPal checkout. Plan.PayPal checkout. I don't know. This seems a little weird. Maybe it should just be that way in the first place. Maybe that's what we should do. So maybe we just call it xadders. Put PayPal checkout there in the first place. All of that's going to change, and all of that's going to change. Darn it. Here, we'll do this. Whoops. What'd I do wrong? Oh, yeah, we'll just... Okay, we'll nix that. And then I'll go uncomment all of these again. So the things that are not under xadders are the things that... Oh, wait, I already did that here. Okay, fine. So let xadders equal product.xadders. Great, and then I can do the same thing down here, right? Except this is plan, not product. Okay, and I don't need that twice. Okay. So we're going to do connects.select. I guess star, we're just going to get everything. Dot from plans, period. And then I guess I could move this down to here. Now I could say await sync with PayPal connects. And then we'll have our connects instance. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if I like the way that this is going, but it is the way that it is going. Missing semicolon. No, it's not. Be quiet, you. All right, so we're going to get everything from, well, I guess first we need to get everything from products. And then we need to loop through the products. Okay, so we're going to take this here. Okay, and then we're going to do ppc dot products dot create, and it's essentially going to be product dot x adders dot PayPal checkout. Right. So what do we get back from that? We should get back the thing that has the ID, right? So this should be let ID equals, I guess we have to do let dot ppc product and ppc product dot ID is what we need to make sure. So really it's going to be if product dot x adders dot PayPal checkout dot ID, then just return already in sync. Otherwise, we're going to create a new one, and then we're going to take that ID and we're going to attach it onto the PayPal checkout ID. And then we're going to save it. So we're going to connects dot, was it merge or update? Let's see. Okay. Connects. What is it? Products. Dot update. X adders. Product dot x adders. Dot where UID is product.UID. Right? And then we await this. And we should be good to go, I think. Do we have an update by ID type of thing? Nope, we don't. Okay. So I think we do the same thing again. Okay, so this is doing the insert. But then down here, we really need to do the same thing. We need to get UID is equal so product is there. Let products, so then plan dot product fk is equal to products 0, right? And then when we go through oh, await plans dot reduce plan p await p promise dot resolve. Do I test the code I've written is working in small chunks or just test at the end? It depends. It depends on a couple of things. One is how easy it is to do that. Because for this, these things are interdependent and it's going to run. It's going to insert stuff into the database. And so if I were to try to test it in small chunks, then what's going to happen is that I am going to have to roll back and push forward the database a bunch. Essentially, if something can be unit tested easily, then I often will test a little bit of it. But I like to get the whole idea out of what the thing needs to be and then run it. So it just depends. This right here is one of those things where it's not useful unless the complete transaction happens. So you have to add the product to the database. You have to add the plan. If you watch the previous episode where I was just dealing with one thing at a time with the PayPal sandbox, I did test just one thing, then the next thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. So the previous 2 episodes in this series about payment processing, I was testing rather small chunks at a time. But in this one, because I'm dealing with a database and the IDs are related to each other, I just want to get the thing fleshed out, make sure the names are correct, and then I'm going to run it, and it's probably going to have some errors, and then I'll deal with them at that stage, but I don't feel that I'm going to save much time because it's a sequential process anyway, so it's going to fail where it fails. And since I'm thinking as I'm coding, I don't have the perfect idea yet of, okay, this is exactly what it needs to be. And, I decide, oh, actually, this should be named differently. And then I go change it in those 3 places. So it's easier for me to have more fluid code and then roll it out at the end. But I think I'm getting pretty close to the point where I can test this. Okay. So get the product ID. And then here the plan. Huh. This kind of does need a product slug. Which maybe it would be appropriate to use the product slug. I don't want to do it. So let's see. We're going to say plan.product slug. And then once we get that, then we're going to say I guess I'm going to have to do delete here, which will be okay, I guess. There are various reasons to avoid delete in general. It tends to, so in the JavaScript interpreters, they will make, I hesitate to use the word classes because it's not that it's classes, it's just an optimization of how objects are structured in memory, which as higher level developers, we typically think of, well, we, loose term, but are typically thought of as classes. When you use delete, it reverts that to a hash. Okay. I wonder if the way this object should be structured, maybe plans should be part of. Yeah. In the JSON, I think maybe that's the way that it should be, is that plans are part of the product, because that is the only direction it can go. But I'm not going to worry about that now. I'm going to say to do. Make product, product.plans. And a product could be a bundle, I suppose. And then that's going to be nuts when I have to get around to that kind of thing, because then basically everything, then everything needs a bundle, and a bundle could be a bundle of one. Yeah. I think that, I don't remember which ones were, because some streams are good and some streams are kind of boring. I think it was maybe either there was a part 0, which was a 6-hour deep dive into how all the PayFacs work. And then part 1 was PayPal. And then part 2, it was either part 1 and part 2, or part 2 and part 3 were particularly good. And then I think there was one that was a lull, and there was another one that was particularly good. And this one's a bit of a lull because it's just, now I've figured out all the database stuff mostly, and I have to actually implement it. In JavaScript, delete changes the way the object is represented in memory. So delete here is not changing the database. It's just removing the property _product slug from the object. But because of the way that the just-in-time compiler works, it will cause the plan object to possibly revert to a hash map rather than a struct in memory. If that makes sense at all, which it may not. It's implementation details. Okay. Get the product UUID. There we go. Okay. So we need to make sure that this is all good. And then we also need to have a function that is sync plans. Let's see. Sync function, sync products. Okay, so where does the rubber meet the road on this one? I think this needs to be done the opposite way. We actually do need to run this. So we're going to create products. Yeah. PayPal checkout ID. Okay. So we could maybe put this in a function too to make it a little smaller, but I don't know that we need that right now. Okay, and then we're going to repeat a lot of this. But we're going to repeat it for plans. So we're going to select star from plans, but we're going to do that where product fk is going to be product.uuid. I think that's the thing. So remind me again, what stage are you at? What programming languages have you used? Because I can maybe, essentially, the computer has RAM, and RAM is physical devices. It's a chip with transistors. Transistors are essentially gates that flip one way or another way based on an electrical impulse. So you could think of it in the same way that a magnet lock on a door, you could think of it in that way. So transistor flips one way or another based on a pulse. RAM stores the state of those magnets, and those are the bits. And when you reference an object in a program, it's a chunk of memory, and it has space. The chunk of memory has enough space to describe the properties of the object. So if it's a number, for example, it will allocate 64 bits. So if you have an object and the first thing in the object is an ID, then it'll have 64 bits for the number. Well, for some sort of counter, it'll have 64 bits for that, and then if the next thing is a string, it'll have 64 bits for a pointer to the string in memory. And mostly it's pointers in this day and age. So it'll have basically 64 bits set aside in memory for each one of the properties of the object. That's what you can kind of assume on a 64-bit processor. And then when you delete something, it changes the size of the amount of memory that it needs. So if it knows it needs this much memory, That's fine. But if you delete something, then it gets confused as to how much memory it needs. And so then it will copy it out of that memory and put it in a different memory structure that is less optimized. So what kind of stuff did they teach you in the CS program? I'm guessing mostly data structures. So if you know data structures, I should know a little bit about memory allocation, right? Okay, you're following me. Good. Okay, let's see. What do I need to do now? So I sync the plans. So I'm going to get all of the plans for just this product, and then we're kind of going to do the same process over again. Interesting way to go about it. So we're going to do plans, reduce. I'm going to take the plan, and if the plan xadders doesn't work, then we're going to create a PayPal checkout plan. So this is going to be plans. And then we got again plan. Wait, what was I going to do with this? Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then we've got plan and plan. And so this one I think can be this way, because we don't have anything else to do with it afterwards. And then we need to update plans and plan.xadders where plan.uuid. Okay, I think we're ready to run this and see if it worketh. Honestly, I think this is going to be easier to manage in a JSON file and then have it rerun a DB sync script than it is to manage it any other way with the potential complexities of this. Just say, because the set's going to be pretty limited, at least for my use case. I'm not going to have thousands of plans. I might have dozens some years down the road. So, okay, npx connects, migrate, latest, let's do it. Yeah. Cool. That's what I like to see. Errors that tell me the right way to go. Alter table plans. Okay, let's look at this plans here. And, there we go. So subscriptions. Okay. Relation product does not exist, probably because it's products. Because I did the dumb thing earlier on, and I used plural rather than singular, because I was smoking the wacky tobacco that day. All right, let's try again. Cool. Everything worked. I don't believe it. It's lies. It's all lies. It's lulling me into a false sense of security so it can stab me in the back. But since it did work, let's go ahead and stage that. I like to stage things when they work. All right, now let's do npx connects seed. Was it run? Is that what it is? Yeah, there we go. Excellent. There is no comment for plans. Great. Let's go add it then. There is no comment for plans. It is a truth. All right, but we do have the index on the slug for the plan, and we have the index on the slug for the product, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Which is, of course, redundant, but whatevs. Okay, so now we're going to do npx connects migrate, and then we're going to go rollback, and then we're going to run it forward again. Oh, whoops. What do we need to do? Oh, crap. Drop table identifiers. Well, that was bad. That was not desirable. Definitely not the correct table to drop. Well, here's what we'll do here. I wonder what I can do about that. Probably nothing. Probably doomed. There's probably a backup of the database, but this is a dev database, so it doesn't matter. But there is basically nothing I can do. Because what it would be good is if I could do would be to insert the records that have been removed. And maybe there's there's not really an idempotent way I could do that, I don't think. If I to insert the IDs in a way that it creates the same IDs every time, because a user can have more than one email address and stuff like that. They can log in with more than one service, be it GitHub or whatever. So it's not an easy thing to do. Anyway, we're going to do, let's see, a couple of rollbacks here. We're going to do npx connects migrate, and we're going to go down, and we're going to go down, and we're going to go down. Oh. And we're going to go what they got. Oops. I have a user table. So we're going to go down again. Cannot drop table users because other objects depend on it. What other objects can possibly depend on it? Everything's been removed from the database. Or did you not get the memo? Let's see. drop table products. How about plans? Products. Subscriptions. Users. Oops. Well, that's pretty much everything. Payment services. Okay. Now that we've manually done a bunch of foo-ha-ha, let's bring this thing back up. npx connects migrate up. Oh. Okay, let me try this one more time. We're going to migrate down. This should take us back to nothingness, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and then we should migrate up, and up, and up, and up, until we get there. Cool. All right, now let's run the npx connects seed run. Hold on. And then connect seed run. I'm just going to put that in my documentation here. Okay. Cannot read properties of undefined reading create. So where is this create that it's so upset about? I think it's going to go back to 128, 139, 143. Let's see about that. 128, 139, 143. 128, 139, 143. I don't see a create there. Did I call it product or products? I think I called it product. And I think I called it plan. Because naming it singular is a sane thing to do. Whoa, that actually got somewhere first. All right, it got a bad response. Let me go check out some stuff over here and see bad response. And really, you know, I should have had the good sense to give a better indication on these errors where they come from. Okay. So I need to figure out which of these is having a bad response and why. So that, let's see. This is enhance error message. More descriptive error message. Okay, let's go take a peek here. So it looks like we got to the part where there are plans. Insert into plans. Select star from products. Let's see what we got. Okay, sync products. So we're Selecting from products. What about here? Sync plans. So we're selecting from plans. And then we got plan.create, plan adders, PayPal checkout. So I guess what I should try to figure out here is, can I catch this error? Which of course I can catch the error. And then console.error, error, let's say json.stringify error, and then throw the error again. And let's do that for the other one as well. Okay. I'm going to run. And I probably should have made this a little easier to read. Client authentication failed. Well, that's easy enough to solve. I wonder if I actually put my client ID in my env file. Let me go check on that over in the other screen. Nope, I didn't. So I'm going to need to take both of these over here for a second and grab out my PayPal client ID and secret. Command K clears the console, by the way, for those not in the know. All right. So what do I do now? I run this again. Got much further. Invalid request. Let's go ahead. Whoops, no, I don't want that one. No, I don't want to go to that one either. JSON console dot. Nope. Okay, maybe I want them data seeds. Yeah. Okay. JSON.stringify. Let's put this in a little bit easier format. And let's run it again. All right, invalid request. It's not well formed. Why? Product ID. Invalid string min length. The value of a field is too short. Description. Field is too short. Name. Field is too short. Well, I wonder, can we see what it was? Request. Headers. Content. I would like to see the content, please. So it would seem that those fields are probably empty, although I can't say for sure, but let's take a look. And this was product. I think this is a plan. Okay. Now where was that product ID? Okay. So one thing that probably needs to happen here is, so if we don't have a plan, then we probably don't have a product ID. That should probably solve that problem. But what about the other problems here? Let's take a look at this before we get into the error condition. And I could totally be wrong about this, because I was thinking, okay, we're going to reduce these plans, and then we're going to insert them into the database. And I was thinking, I'm not actually doing the copying over here. That's why. So this needs to have a name, a description, there we go. This probably solves all of those problems in one go. Let's find out if it does. Not quite, not quite. But what do we get different this time? So name is invalid and description is invalid. Okay. Well, let's take a look. Well, actually, let's just run it again, and then let me see what the output was for plan. So here's request ID, here's name and description of the plan. Okay, plan should start with plan. Got it. Let's go update that real quick. Oops. All right, request ID. PayPal checkout of the plans. Looks like this. That looks right. So what's going on here? I'm going to put it some more console.log spacing around this thing and just take a look at it one more time, because this seems everything ought to be right at this point. We should have a name and a description, and okay, look for the debug plan, request ID. That doesn't make sense. Request ID doesn't look right there. Let me take a look at that. So sync plans product. Okay, let's take a look at plan instead. Indeed. Okay. So Request ID is nothing. ID, product ID, name, description. Okay, so why did name and description not get copied over? That's the part that's missing right now. Is all right, is this being skipped? Products. No. All right, what about in here? Is this being skipped? Blah, 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 blah. Maybe. Does the plan have a top level slug and comment? Am I putting that in there? Title. Does it have a comment? Or is it empty? It does have a comment. So this plan to me very much appears to have all of the properties that it ought to have. On conflict update, maybe? Let's see if that will work. On conflict merge. Let's see, where's my on conflict? Okay, let's try this. Okay, on conflict merge. Ooh. That one's going to be more tough, huh? So what I probably have to do is await each of these. And say where slug is plan.slug. Let's see if that works out. Nope. Why not? Comment slug title blah 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 blah. On conflict do nothing. Error while executing this, blah, blah, blah. Where's the error at? Column true doesn't exist. On conflict. Okay, I guess maybe I need to specify what the conflict could be. On conflict slug merge. And I should probably update this one too. But we'll worry about that later. Okay. I'm still complaining. Why? Column reference slug is ambiguous. How so? Insert into plans all of these things, values, all these things on conflict, slug, slug, okay. Okay, let's try this a little bit differently. So on conflict plans.slug, plans.slug. Does that one work? I don't know. This one's a little confusing. Hey! Huzzah! Looks pretty good. So I think it worked. I think that it worked. Here's a way to find out. We will need to have, let's see, we need to write a little test to view all of the things coming out of the PayPal whatchamajig. It's a technical term, PayPal whatchamajig. I'm going to do okay, let's do product.list. There's probably some paging that needs to be done and whatnot. But I think essentially I could do this. What is it complaining about? List products. Oh. Yeah, okay, I get what it's talking about. Here we go. So we don't need this. We can just say JSON true here. We don't need to post. I think that's essentially it. All right, so we've got a products list, and we need a plan list as well, which I think is going to be about the same. So let me just throw this in here, plan.list, list plans, which I only have this for debugging, by the way. And I think it's going to, is it going to be catalog plans, or is it going to be, I think it's going to be billing plans. Let's take a peek. V1 billing plans, yeah. So let's go ahead and test list. Okay, so let plans equals, and then let's do console.log. I guess console.info, json.stringify plans null 2, and let's console.info to give a little bit of some, well, we already got the white space there. And then let's just list out plans like so. And then let's list out products as well. Products and products. And did I actually update the whatchamajigs with the database? Hold on, let me go check over here and make sure all the whatchamajigs are updated in the database. Okay, plans, sync plans. We do the PayPal checkout thing, and then we update the plans where the UUID. Yep, okay, good. So whatchamajigs are updated in the database. So we should see here Bliss Pro. Sweet. Oh, I wonder if the sandbox accounts are regenerated every night at midnight. Something like that. Because this is, well, there's test plan 1, but that just comes from running the tests. Oh, interesting. I don't think I ran the tests today, though. Did I? Where's test plan number 1? Do I still have a test plan number 1? Yeah, I do. Okay. I must have run the tests earlier today or something. Cool. Well, I'm glad they clean out the sandbox environment. All right. Well, this tells us, ba-da-da-da. There we go. Cool, cool beans. So let's add another space in between these. But this looks good to me. All right, now let's see if the database looks good, which is going to be a little bit more difficult to tell because the database is going to look like crap. PSQL, there we go. Select star from plans. Yeah, looks like garbage. And so then I'm going to have an update, yada yada. But it's okay, it's all going to work out. All right, well, there's just one plan in here, and the plan, let's see, billing cycles, description, product ID. ID. Okay, so here's the ID that comes from PayPal. So that worked. And then let's take a look at products. And there's what came from PayPal. And let's make sure that these two are referencing each other. Yeah, great. Okay, so a little painstaking to figure it all out, but the seed process worked as expected. The seed process, it's not doing it perfectly. I would like to change it a little bit. Let me think about this. This is what I need to worry about with this one, is just making sure we don't end up with duplicates. So on conflict. So the thing that I can never have in here is whatever the PayPal ID is for this thing. So I'm worried if I were to run this again, I would get a conflict. Let's see. Where's this run? Okay. So here's what I need to make sure of. I need to make sure that I do let db plan equal plan dot, oh, well, let's see, await connects dot select, I guess star dot from plans dot where slug is plan dot slug. So db plans, let db plan equal db plans 0. So what we need to do here is if db plan, then all of this right here ID is db plan dot ID. There. That's what we need to do. So we need to preserve PayPal checkout plan ID. So I should be able to run this thing 100 times and it shouldn't have any problem. But I also want to be able to sync this. Yeah, this is obnoxious. This is really something that I want to have. I guess it's fine the way that it is to be part of the seed process. But I almost think that I ought to put this somewhere else and then have the seed process call this something else. The reason being that this is something that I'm going to want to run essentially on a cron job, say every night, just go through and make sure that the catalog of the JSON file, the database, and the PayPal checkout are all in sync. And when I add the other payment service, I'm going to have to this process is going to have to get updated so that first we sync the database, then we sync PayPal, then we sync the other service. And anytime we get back a new ID, we sync back to the database. Yeah, so I might still end up wanting, in addition to X-adders, a PayPal checkout ID. I'll have to think on that one. Anyway, it is about time for me to go get dinned in and hang out with the fam. I won't be surprised if I don't get a knock on my door. Well, I won't be surprised if I get a knock on my door any minute now. So I'm going to try to wrap things up. First thing I'll do is, let's see, what have I done over here with the PayPal checkout? So I added a feature there, that's great, and I added some tests for it, also great. Add ability to list plans and products and plans, products and plans. So I could just do this, add product.list and oops, plan.list. There we go. And I'm going to push that up. And then here, did I fix my problem? Well, first of all, it was already working. So let me go ahead and make sure. Okay, so since it was working, it's the moment it was working, I should have done a whip commit. But I didn't, whatever, it's fine. So let me, I should be able to run npx seed run, and I should not have any problems. Everything should work out just fine. If I go do my listing, I shouldn't see duplicates if I'm lucky. Plans. Okay, no duplicates there. And products. Wait, hold on, plans. Products, plans, what? Okay, let me actually product.list. Oops. Oh, there's all my test products. Okay. Yeah. Oh, darn though. Where's the Bliss one? Test product 10. Oh, is it paging? So I'm going to need to do something about that real quick. So let's go look at PayPal API and let's look at products. Okay, where's product under? Catalog. Do I need to look for catalog over here? Is that what I'm looking for? Catalog products. There we go. So if I want to list them, minimum value, maximum value is 20. So I need to add a page size. And then total required. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. And how do we specify these things? It's query parameters? Query parameters. Okay. So page size is 20 and require total. Total required is true. Okay. Total required equals true. So to do paging, but for right now, we're just going to put that in there. I suppose we could do query on this, and then, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Oh. Okay, yeah, that nests it. Total items 2, and this one is total items 15. Cool. Oh, good though. It looks like there's only one instance of Bliss Pro. There's Bliss Pro. Okay, good. So that seems to me that things are working the way that we want them. All right. All right, so bug fix is test product list and set max paging. Okay. Well, we're good there. And then here it looks like we're good because it is idempotent. All right. So what we now have is a feature, add product payment info to DB. And then with the README, which, by the way, what branch are we on right now? Bliss. Okay. Docs. Update project info, add DB migration notes. Okay, cool. Well, the good news is that I have an idempotent way, well, mostly. I'm still going to have to do the PayPal update bit, but I have a mostly idempotent way of being able to update the get the PayPal product listing and the local database product listing in sync. So the next bit will be, let's actually get a customer in there, I think. I should be able to make that step next because we haven't actually tested that part of the database. We don't actually have the subscriptions, we just have the product listing. And I think that I'm going to basically ship that information to the front end or bake it into the front end of what the pricing is. Or maybe I do need to get it from the back end. I guess I do need to get it from the back end. But I'm going to have to scope it. Oh, this actually gives me another thing. I'm going to have to scope it to product listings are going to need to be scoped to a product type. So if I have a bundle that includes Bliss and Telebit, for example, I would want to show that on the Bliss page. So let me see. I'll open up my to-dos here. Allow for Bliss plus Telebit bundle. So payments. And then what else do we want to do? Add subscribe button. And then I do need to add credit card inputs on Bliss, and I probably also need to do this on the root website because part of the process that I have to go through, I need to show my my refund policy on the website, and I need to show a form that gathers credit card info. So I'm going to have to add that. I'll add it first to Bliss, and then maybe generically. What I may have, I might add to the root site a pay for services, and just have the option for people to either pay for services with PayPal or with their credit card. And that should be good enough to get the payment processing bit done. But in the meantime, I can do the payment processing with PayPal, with credit cards. For subscriptions, though, I can't do it for one-off payments that way. Anyway, I think I can get rid of this one now. I think I can. All right, well, and then for the PayPal checkout, what we need to do here, which I should probably just put in issues, paging, updates, deletes, and then back in this to do, sync product plan updates to existing PayPal product plan. Anyway, we'll figure this stuff out, but this is where it's going. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for joining in. For those of you that joined in, for those of you that didn't join in, raise your hand if you're absent. Thumbs up if you got them, because if you like what you like, you get more of what you like. Otherwise, thumbs down, because every thumb helps. And if you'd like to subscribe, hit the bell for personalized recommendations so that you get the good stuff that you're most likely to be interested in. With all of that, I am out. Adios.